Yeah, but they've done a good job on them.
The first one is Ward 3.
Buffalo Coalition, they take good care of them.
Testing.
Desert Shores, Duncanport. I don't remember Elkhorn, Glen Heather, Virginia, Glen Heather.
On the John Park.
Yeah.
Oh, David Fish was presenting today.
Historic West, where's David?
That's so slow. And you know what? I downloaded all the apps already on my computer, so I ran. Oh. I know, but how do I turn it off?
Click the red button.
Where? This? It says. Sorry. Good afternoon. I'm Tanya Jackson Renter from Councilman Creer's office, and the Neighborhood Partner Fund Board agenda, I'm going to follow it. The date is June 5th at 2 p.m. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Member Quinn,
Here.
Member Jackson Renter,
Here.
Member Tramp,
Here.
Member Whittingham,
Here.
Member Bautista,
Here.
Member Evans, excuse Member Hubble,
Here.
Member Flink, Member Lalone,
Present.
Member Beers,
Here.
Member Becker,
Here.
Member Petrelli, excuse me. Thank you. Member Alvarez.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving to item 2. I'm going to make an announcement regarding the compliance with open meeting law. Clerk, are we in compliance?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Item 3, for public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. I don't see anyone present. Can we move to item 4? We're good to go?
Yep.
Okay, for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the regular meeting of June 6th, 13th, and 14th of 2022. May I please have a motion?
I so move Matthew Tramp, Ward 1.
So, I need a motion, a second.
I second the motion. Member Quinn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 6.
Oh, any opposed, Chair? Any opposed?
Any opposed?
No.
Okay.
Motion carries. This is my first time doing this, so thank you guys for your patience. Item 6, discussion for possible action to approve the amendments to the Neighborhood Partners Fund bylaws.
Chairman, excuse me, item 5, please, first.
Item 5, discussion for possible action regarding the election of a chair and vice chair. Do I have a motion for the chair?
Matthew Tramp, member. I nominate Vicki Quinn for chair.
Thank you.
Chairman, any nominations for vice chair?
Member Quinn, I nominate Member Tramp as my vice chair. Thank you.
I accept.
Any opposition?
I would call for a motion, Chairman.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
It sounds like we have nominations for both chair and vice chair and no other nominations present. You may ask for a motion accepting those nominations.
Okay, may I please have a motion to accept the chair and vice chair? The chair is Vicki Quinn and Matthew Tramp for vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Chairman? Chairman, any opposed?
Any opposed? I hope no. Okay, motion carries. We have a new chair coming over, Vicki Quinn. Thank God I did. You did a good job. Bravo.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to item number 5, discussion for possible action regarding the election of the, oh, we just did that. Moving on to item number 6, discussion for possible action to approve the amendments to the Neighborhood Partnership Fund Board bylaws. Do I have a motion to amend the bylaws?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve item 6. Do I have a second?
I second Matthew Tramp.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to item number, favor? Anybody not in favor? No. Okay, so that passes. Thank you. Moving on to number 7, we have a report by Ann Kaponen, Senior Neighborhood Outreach Specialist, on the fiscal year of 2023-24, the Neighborhood Partnership Fund Program Guidelines and Application Process. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you. The Neighborhood Partners Fund is a matching grant program designed to increase community engagement through physical improvement projects, neighborhood education, recreation and cultural initiatives, and crime and public safety projects. The Neighborhood Partners Fund program guidelines outline the criteria for this program. Neighborhood-based associations, such as homeowners associations and neighborhood associations, may apply for up to $5,000 annually. Associations must be registered with the City of Las Vegas Department of Neighborhood Services. Registration is free. Associations are required to match their grant request. The match must include volunteer labor and may also include in-kind donations and cash. A minimum of 25% of the match is required to come from volunteer labor, valued at $29.95 per hour this year. Associations can meet their match entirely with volunteer labor. This is a competitive grant process with a total budget of $80,000. The application process opened on January 30th, 2023 and closed on April 30th, 2023. Neighborhood Services staff provided 5 workshops in January and February to provide guidance on applying. 4 of the workshops were in person and 1 was virtual. Notice of the grant application was provided by press release, on Nextdoor social media, and through the council office's electronic newsletters. In addition, Neighborhood Services notified associations that applied the prior year, as well as notified all registered associations with valid email addresses. The Neighborhood Partners Fund Board will hear presentations from the applicants in this meeting and will make funding recommendations at their meeting on June 26, 2023. The funding recommendations will be forwarded for possible approval to the mayor and city council at the city council meeting scheduled for July 19th, 2023. Associations that are awarded funding will be required to sign an agreement with the city prior to the project starting and funds being expended. Applicants that are awarded funding will have from mid-August 2023 to the end of March 30th, 2024 to complete their projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. We're moving on now to number 8, presentations on Neighborhood Partners Fund Board Grant Program Association submitted by the Beverly Green Neighborhood Association, the Buffalo Coalition Neighborhood Association, the Community Crusaders at the Meadows Neighborhood Association, Duncan Court Homeowners Association, Elkhorn High Noon Association, Jonas Park Neighborhood Association, Lakeside Village Homeowners Association, Rainbow Family Park Homeowners Association, Tanglewood Homeowners Association, West Mesa Estates Coalition Neighborhood Association, Willowdale Estates Homeowners Association. So we will be welcoming our first applicant at this point, which is the Beverly Green Neighborhood Association. Thank you. Yeah, welcome.
Hi, I'm Polly Schmidt. I'm currently serving as the Vice President of the Historic Beverly Green Neighborhood Association. This isn't intimidating at all, by the way. So I did submit a PowerPoint, and I went ahead and printed as requested. If anyone works better off paper like I do.
I do.
So we had several meetings with the board and with our neighbors, and what we came up with, and the consensus seems to be, we want to have a signature celebration event, especially since we haven't had a reason or a purpose to come together after the pandemic. Many of our neighbors have been kind of holed up at home. We want to do something with a little style and a little flair, something that's memorable. I've owned a home in Beverly Green for 13 years, and I can tell you of all the projects that we've done using MPF and various other grants, including YNAP. The one that stands out to me the most is when we had a block party and I got to meet all of my neighbors who usually don't come out, but they will come out for a party, especially if it's not a potluck, and we provide all the food and drink and entertainment. Jason and I, Jason's the president, he's not here right now, but we have sourced several vendors. We've asked for discounts. We've been shopping around. We have a venue. We have a DJ who will spin live vinyl. He's going to spin like some old hits from our neighborhood's history back in 1950. So we'll be hearing some Frank Sinatra, some Dean Martin, some really cool stuff. And he's agreed to bring a second DJ so that they could spin all night for 4 hours. We're not asking neighbors to do anything, just to come as they are and enjoy and meet neighbors, build community, kind of build those ties again, especially since we've had this period of not coming together. And I'm happy to answer any questions, if you have any.
Thank you, Polly Schmidt. Is there anybody that wishes to make a remark? Go ahead. Thank you.
First, I have a question for the clerk. You did apply last year for a grant, right?
I did not personally.
But your neighborhood
did. My neighborhood might have. I wasn't serving at that time, so I'm not familiar with the details on that.
Okay, because I noticed the app does not show a history, but...
Yeah, this is our first year serving for Jason and I. We are brand new to serving for Beverly Green. So we've been resident, he's been a resident there for a year, I've been a resident there for 13 years. I did serve back in 2014, that was quite some time ago. I think we did a cleanup at that time. Okay. I'm not quite sure.
So I was just trying to clarify, because I thought last year your neighborhood came in to present, my app, this is more for the clerk.
No, it's very possible they did. That would have been...
different leadership. Okay.
Yeah, the previous leadership.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Member Tanya.
Just looking at last year, They did apply for a grant, and it was for the Beverly Green Neighborhood Watch Campaign.
Thank
That's
you.
just for the record.
Yeah. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on the Beverly Green Neighborhood Association before we move on to the next one? So the way this works is now we deliberate and think about it, and then we meet again on June 26th for the follow-up of this. So we appreciate your presentation, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Am I supposed to come back on the 26th?
No,
Okay, perfect.
that's where we talk about you. Just kidding.
Great. Please do.
kidding.
My dress is quite busy. Thank you.
Perfect.
Good
Thank you, Ms. Schmidt.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I had one question before I asked.
Sure.
Sorry, I didn't read the documents. Let me try to find the right documents before I... So it says you have no list of volunteer pledge sheets.
We have volunteers.
You just put 5,000, but you did not itemize who was. It just said residents. So
Sure.
I'm also asking with the clerk, is that appropriate for the city staff member to?
When I submitted the application through the grants website, we did break it down. I believe I submitted that to Ann Clonopin? Is that you? I'm sorry, I butchered your name. But we did break down volunteers, hours, estimates on all of our vendors, that kind of thing. That was in the Zoom grants.
Okay, so
Pre-application.
my application doesn't have anything, so I'm just asking if before we make this final approval, if you can submit that to the clerk so we can have that before we make our.
Sure.
That's just my only concern when I looked at this yesterday.
May I be able to email that? I have the presentation from today, but
You can talk to
I've
the
got
clerk
it in my
and she'll-
email.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So I think that's the only thing I think that was needing more details. So,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you for your consideration.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Brenda Flank for the record. Looking at the Zoom grant loans, the Zoom grants on the computer, I think you said something about paint curbs and address numbers.
Yes. So we went through several iterations for ideas when we met with the board and when we met with certain stakeholders in our neighborhood. We went through painting curbs initially, and then we had to go in and change our application because as we started to source vendors, it was well outside the scope of this micro grant of $5,000. There was no way to do it, even with a discount. We tried to hire, we reached out to veterans, we reached out to Boy Scouts, we reached out to several organizations, and we just could not get the budget to work for $5,000 to paint all of the curbs and have them unified. So then we went back to the drawing board and had other meetings with our board members and our neighbors and said, you know, what else can we do that would be within this budget? And, you know, like I said, living there 13 years, the one thing that I remember that we did with this grant is we had, with Heidi Swank hosting, we had a block party, and it was so memorable. I got to meet so many of my neighbors. It was such a wonderful, memorable time that I brought it up, and I said maybe we should just do a celebration, especially since so many people are working at home, you know, in the pandemic, and they don't come out of their homes. We don't get to meet them very often, but if we just ask them to show up, they'll come and we'll be able to meet our neighbors. So we did shift, and I did ask permission to change our pre-application, and I believe we were able to, again, through Ms. Ann Kay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are moving on now to the Buffalo Coalition.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
on a point, just before you move on to the Buffalo Coalition, this is member Whittingham, Peter Whittingham. I want to make the record show that I'm recusing myself from any participation in the question or eventually vote on the Buffalo Coalition. I live within the Buffalo Coalition. I'm also an active member of that neighborhood organization. But this notwithstanding, there's nothing that will affect my own judgment and ability to vote on others as they come before me, but I want to make sure the record reflects.
This is Jim Lewis. I'm with the State Attorney's Office. Did I hear you correctly? You live within the membership of the next applicant?
That's correct, yes.
And you are an active participant with the next applicant?
I am a member of the committee, yes.
I will advise you that you should probably abstain from this item because you may have a direct fiscal, this may have a direct fiscal impact upon you. I'm recommending to you that you not participate in this item.
Yes,
but you can participate if you want. I'm just giving you my advice.
Yeah, that's why I want the record to show that I am recusing myself from.
Okay, very good.
Yes, that was the intent of my comment, that I'm recusing myself from participating in any matter concerning the next applicant, and certainly eventually recuse myself from voting on any matter pertaining to this particular applicant.
Very good. I was confused by the first part of it as opposed to the second part.
Okay.
Thank you for clearing that up. I really appreciate it.
Okay, of course.
Okay, thank you. We are moving on now to the Buffalo Coalition. Tim and Terry O'Rourke, are they here? Do you think they're waiting outside like the others do?
This is Ann Kilponen. We are a little ahead of schedule, so they may not
Okay.
have arrived quite yet, but we'll check.
Okay, they're for 2:50. What time is it?
We're half an hour ahead.
Oh, we're very early ahead. We're gonna have to wait. Yeah, you know what? We'll go ahead and we have 30 minutes before the next one is supposed to be here. So why don't we take a break and get your water, go to the bathroom or something, and we'll be back here at 2:45. Okay? That's right on time for the next applicant. Thank you.
Do you want to call the next people that are here? Okay, very good. There's some people that are here that want to speak. I think they're the next people. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure we know what we're doing. Good job.
Okay, with everybody back already, we're gonna,
No, they're not. We have one.
oh, we have one person we're waiting for. Okay,
She's over there.
we'll wait. Good afternoon, Buffalo Coalition. We're waiting for one more member. We were running ahead of schedule, not behind, which is, always a good thing. So we had a little break before you got in here, so I apologize for the delay. It'll be just a minute. Okay, thank you.
Don't be nervous.
Thank you. We're all back. We welcome the Buffalo Coalition Neighborhood Association. Please state your name and address for the record, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Good afternoon, committee members. We're glad to be here. I'm Terry O'Rourke. My home address is 2000 Palm Canyon Court.
Hi, my name is Preeta Rajan. We just moved 2 months back from Bay Area, California, and just enjoying a lot here in Vegas. This is an amazing experience to be with all of you. My address is 2061 Palm Canyon Court.
I'm Tim O'Rourke, and I live at 2000 Palm Canyon Court. I'm gonna. We're representing the Buffalo Coalition Neighborhood Association. Our boundary streets are Buffalo, Cimarron, Oakey, and Via Olivera. Our neighborhood consists of people from all over the world. Many could have lived anywhere they wanted. Consistently, we hear our neighbors say they've never lived anywhere that their neighbors have shown such consideration and care for one another. We have a vibrant neighborhood watch program. Funding from a past grant went a long way in establishing and maintaining this program, including all the neighbors. We have received this grant previously to kickstart past projects for our neighborhood. These funds in the past have aided our association in beautifying corner planters, fund our neighborhood watch signs, our neighborhood designation signs that you see on the poles, neighborhood watch yard signs, something like this, association t-shirts, caps, coffee on the curb with residents, block parties, safety fair, often including other associations, usually a visit from our councilwoman. I think it's pretty clear we've made the most of this opportunity and been good stewards of the grant money in the past. At block parties, coffee on the curb, signs, t-shirt purchases, barricade rentals, table and chair rentals, we've attempted to use local vendors, creating a ripple effect, spreading the grant money into the community. A few of the beneficiary companies are on one side of the flyer, which we should have shared with you. The streets in our neighborhood are long, wide, and often used for cut-through traffic. To add insult to injury, many of these drivers throw their trash into the street or deposit it in the gutter. Some of our residents pick up trash nearly daily. On the first Saturday of each month, many of our association meet on a predetermined street and spend at least 1 hour picking up trash. This past Saturday, we had neighbors aging from 8 to 88 participate. We've determined a good use for our grant request would be to purchase the items on the second page of the flyer. We've always purchased our own bags and trash grabbers in the past. However, the small cart pictured would be a huge assist in our monthly trash pickup. The slow down signs would alert drivers to our neighbors working. There's a sample of the cart that we'd like to buy for the trash pickups. And
Slideshow.
Oh,
We have a slideshow.
there's more.
These are pictures from the events and activities that we had in our neighborhood from the last year up until the ice cream social in March. Since then, we've had a safety fair, and we continue to have our monthly neighborhood trash cleanup activities. So there isn't much to say about the slides except to show you. Coffee on the Curb starts in September. We've done that for 4 years now. And it ended with our safety fair that city employee, fire department employee Melanie Denon put together for us. I don't know if you know Melanie, but she's a fabulous job, fabulous resources, and we're in the process of working with other neighborhood associations to get more people out, possibly to an elementary school, because the information shared was important for all of us to have. This is our Coffee on the Curb. More coffee. We invited neighbors from other neighborhoods to all of our events, but at our Coffee on the Curb, we had, I believe, 12 neighbors from other neighborhoods. This is our block party in October. We've done our block party for 5 years now. This is our ice cream social with Ben & Jerry's, which is a huge hit. We're trying to coordinate Ben & Jerry's with the safety fair, like a elementary school, as said, to get more people out. And these are pictures from our trash cleanup activities. We have quite a few neighbors who come out, which is very exciting. So the grant for last year, we purchased our neighborhood yard signs, and these have been a huge hit. We had grommets put in so that they could put it on a gate or put it in their yard. Also, our neighborhood watch T-shirts, which we wear to the first Tuesday that the police department has. Sorry, I'm going over. The middle picture shows our faded neighborhood watch signs, and we purchased some of those with the grant money and replaced them with, new signs. The photograph with the cute little vehicle, it was at the police department's National Night Out, and so we always try to support the police department. And here's just more trash cleanup pictures. And ended with our ice cream social. So I'm going over.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It was
you.
a lovely presentation, and you've done a lot of great stuff with previous monies given, that's for definite sure. So it shows a lot, and it's really nice to see. We're going to open it up with any questions now from the board members to you and your husband or your guest. So thank you. Does anybody have any questions down to the left? Any comments? Go ahead, please say your name and
For the record, this is April Lolone. Lovely presentation, and we're sorry that you are no longer in Ward 1. I know Councilman Knudsen misses you. I like that cart. How much are the carts, and how many do you plan to buy?
Well, we want to get probably 12 to start with, and yes, they're great because they collapse. The carts are great because they collapse. And with our trash cleanup, we found there are lots of needles, syringes, I hate to say this, human waste. So sometimes we put a bucket inside that fits perfectly inside. That way nobody gets harmed or injured picking up. And the pickers that we bought with our own money, they're great, but they're just not very sturdy. So if you go to pick up a heavy bottle, this doesn't get the job done. The ones that are on the flyer that we just handed out are much sturdier and have little rubber grommets or something that help hold on to heavy things.
thank you. Any more questions down to the left of me, down here? Go ahead.
Brenda Plank, for the record. How big is your community?
We have 172 homes. We have within the boundaries of Oakey, Buffalo, Villa Olivero, and Cimarron. But within that are 7 gated communities that have about 86 homes. So we're about 100 plus. And
well, it sounds like a great community, and thank you for all you do, because a lot of communities are not as engaged as they should be to really make it a community. So we appreciate you putting forth the effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have wonderful neighbors. Look, a brand new neighbor who's just been here with us less than a month, and already she wants to get involved. I think that's wonderful. It's heartwarming.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else down that way? Looking down this side, does anybody have anything to say regarding this application? State your name, please.
This is Arlene. This is my first time on this board, and I just want to say I'm very impressed with the application, the fact that you have the quotes from the vendors, pledges, and even monetary pledges. That shows the commitment, and so kudos to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We look forward to talking about it at our next meeting. Thanks a lot. Now we're going to welcome the Community Crusaders at the Meadows Neighborhood Association.
Thank you for the instructions on the clicker. Last year I was going in the wrong direction. Good afternoon. I'm Sherry Lane. I'm the president of Neighborhood Watch at the Meadows, and this is my co-president.
I'm Bonnie Swadling. I am the president of the Crusaders.
And together we've worked very hard to put a really terrific presentation together for you. Oh, we forgot our address. Sherry Lane, 2900 South Valley View Boulevard, number 271.
Bonnie Swadling, 2900 South Valley View, number 206.
I'm going to go off script just to give you a bit of an overview of our community. We are a 55-plus community of 338 homes. We have over 600 residents that live in the community. We do not have an HOA, which is a very important part for you to understand what we do day in and day out. Neighborhood Watch and Community Crusaders is truly the grassroots of doing things for the residents. Last year, the grant provided us with safety equipment. We bought reflective vests for the people who like to walk and ride their bikes in the dark. We provided flashlights for those very same people. And we provided motion-activated solar lights that Bonnie's group of volunteers helped the seniors put on the outsides of their home if they needed help. The good bad news is we ran out of those things, so I am looking forward to doing Senior Safety Part 2 for our 600 and some residents, and you'll see in the application that I requested more of the motion-activated solar lights and more of the flashlights. And in the presentation, let me jump ahead here, we would like to thank the committee for last year's grant. We were able to fund a photo booth at the resident extravaganza. We were able to fund the menu for last year's Oktoberfest, which was our second year. We had anticipated 80 people, which is what we had put in on the application. We ended up serving 110 people. So Neighborhood Watch sought donations, so no resident had to pay to come to this exciting event. This year, we're planning on over 100 people because the word is spreading. So that's a good thing. And I mentioned the community safety equipment. This is our local mission statement: to maintain and preserve the beauty and ambiance of our community and to ensure the comfort of all residents and their families and guests. We do look out for each other. Here's sort of how the umbrella breaks down. We have the Community Crusaders. I am thrilled to say that we have 12 block captains. We divided the community into 12 areas, and they're very active. And of course, resident participation. This is how the map of our community looks, divided by the block captain units. Here is our core block captain team, missing a few people that weren't available for the photograph. We have over 20 volunteers that we can call at any time between the 12 block captains and associated volunteers. Oktoberfest last year, here we are. Remember, we thought we'd have 80 people and we served 110 people. So just some pictures of people having a good time. Last year we had requested funding for Neighborhood Watch signs, which are posted in the neighborhood. And here are I candidly caught a couple wearing their safety vest as they're out picking up trash in the neighborhood, so that was really cute. My favorite picture is here is a senior who not only wears her vest, but she bought one for her senior dog. My phone exploded when people saw her out on the street. Where did she get it? Where did she get it? So people are also putting those on their pets. Our work continues this year. As I mentioned earlier, my heart is in senior safety. We are on Valley View between Sahara and Penwood, and the neighborhood isn't the best neighborhood. We are gated, but that does not stop the bad guys and bad gals from coming in the community. Neighborhood Watch goes out on what I call pajama patrol. Some of us go out after dark, after the courtesy patrol has gone off the clock at 10 o'clock, just to be out there letting the bad guys and bad gals know that we are extremely active, and we know that petty crimes happen everywhere. My focus is so much on Light the Night. Putting those motion-activated lights on the houses has been wonderful. I would say close to 60% of the houses either have those or LEDs, or they turn their porch lights on, which to me is success. We are getting where we need to go. Let's see what else I forgot for you. I think that's... I mentioned Light the Night. Several safety things that we've done unrelated to our application. April 24th, the Red Cross came out and did an emergency preparedness safety presentation and gave the 88 residents that showed up an emergency preparedness kit. Also, Spring Valley Area Command Metro folks came out and talked about senior safety and provided a checklist for people. One of my volunteers, who I bow to, has taken on the project of creating a CERT team, Community Emergency Response Team. Keep in mind, we're not an HOA, and the management company says, we don't do that. It's not our liability. So this is a huge undertaking, and we're looking forward to her getting people certified. Oh dear. Okay. Thank you very much. You want to add anything?
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lane. You go above and beyond. You went above and beyond last year, and you're going above and beyond again this year. So I'll turn it over to my friends around here to see if they have any questions for you. Starting with my right, is there anything, Ms. Tanya?
Yes, Member Jackson Renter. I just have a question. So you mentioned that you have an HOA, but you guys have your own neighborhood association? So you have HOA and
We are the volunteer association. There is no HOA like you get in a community or a condo association. The management company is totally separate from all of us.
That's what I understood you to say. Have you contacted the City of Las Vegas Neighborhood Services to see if they can help you get organized?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Have you reached out to the City of Las Vegas, to Neighborhood Services, about just getting more help with organizing? Can I defer to Ann? Ann, can you?
Fabulous. I'm sure I can check with Ann on that.
We've met with the association over the years. It's basically a mobile home park, for lack of a better word. And so it's a community group that gets together to focus a lot on public safety, as various forms of public safety, as well as trying to enhance that community togetherness. So they've been in existence for, how long would you say, 10 years, something like that?
I'm sorry, Ann?
How long have you been in existence? Has it been about 10 years now?
This is almost my fourth year. They had Neighborhood Watch several years ago, and it kind of petered out. I started 3.5 years ago, and I'm passionate. Obviously, you can see that. We have been in contact with some of the city resources, certainly about CERT and trying to find out about emergency preparedness. So all offers are greatly appreciated.
Are you guys part of Ward 1? Ward 3? Okay. Arlene works with Ward 3. Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you. Anybody to the left of me that wants to make a comment or ask a question, please say your name for the record.
For the record, Member Whittingham, I just wanted to add to the comment that Member Tanya made, and for the most part, the question is covered, but on the part of CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, you are currently in touch with the Police Department for Metro. They are a wonderful resource. Their community engagement team will help you significantly develop a strategic plan and in terms of putting together a CERT team for your neighborhood. So keep in touch with them and ask them specifically about what they can do to help you establish a CERT.
Yes, sir, and we have followed that idea. Tiffany Gassett is our liaison at PD. She's fabulous. And some of our folks have already signed up for a June, I think it's 24th and 25th. They're going down to Henderson Fire Department for the 2-day classes. It's a very intense program, and not to be taken lightly by the people who are thinking they want to be a part of the team. So yes, thank you. We are making sure all of the civic groups are involved, PD, fire.
Yes.
Ann gets tired of getting my emails. Arlene gets tired of getting my emails.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say your name, please.
Brian Hubble for the record. I see in your documentation that there's no donations or volunteer pledge, and I see that you have volunteers. Can you provide the itemized volunteers to the clerk's office so we can have that for the matching?
Yes, I certainly can. I heard you talking to a previous group, and at one point I had emailed Ann. To date, our total volunteer hours equal $1,707.
Wonderful.
It's a handwritten list. Most of our volunteer time comes a little bit later in the year, and I'm happy to provide that list to you, Ann. And
yes, if you could provide just the pledge list for the volunteer hours for this project, so that adds up to the match. And if you could get that to me within the next week,
you'll have it tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
It's handwritten, but it's pretty.
That will work. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Sherry. And through you, we'll get a copy of that list, the board.
This is Ann Kilponen. Yes, we will make sure that the board has a copy of that list.
Thank you. There was someone else down there that wanted to say something. Are you done? Okay, for that, that's it. So that's all of us, and we appreciate you coming down, and we appreciate what you do, Sherry Lane. You are an exemplary example.
It truly
of how
is a
this should be run.
team. I'm just the leader.
We're a good leader.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. We're moving on now to Duncan Court. Is Duncan Court here? Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Fine, how you doing?
Good. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Good, Daniel. Daniel Yen, Duncan Court, HOA President. John Tierney with Duncan Court.
Thank you, Daniel and John. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. We actually were here last year. Actually, Jack did the presentation. And we are coming back to do a second phase of raising the wall, which was the alley wall, which is what we started last year.
So you, correct me if I'm wrong, you were here last year with Raise the Wall too, right?
Yes. So that was the project last year, and what happened was we actually weren't able to do the whole wall. We had to change it to 4 phases and break it down. And so we completed phase 1, and now we're doing phase 2.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. Is there anybody on this side that wishes to speak about the wall?
Are they done?
They're done. Thank you.
Yeah, this is going to be a long, Matthew Tramp, Ward 1. Okay, I did go, before this meeting, I did review last year's presentation. Pretty much your projections budget were higher than what you presented last year, so you are asking us for another grant for this same project, and we normally, I already talked to the clerks, I do need legal to tell us, we do have a procedure that you're not supposed to present a repeated project. If a project's incompleted or went above budget, that you can't just present next year for more money if you rent out. But so I do need legal to give me an interpretation if I'm right about the policy on presenting a repeated project or an incomplete project.
Well, we're going to have, yes, this is Jim Lewis from the Attorney's Office. We probably ought to take a look at the Neighborhood Partners Fund Program Guidelines 23-24 to answer that question for you. So why don't we start? We'll just do this together if you don't mind, Chair, if that's okay with you.
Sounds perfect.
Okay, so if you look in the introduction, it does say, and that's page 1, right? It does say, let's see, funding must not be used to fund a neighborhood association's operating budget. Okay, that doesn't sound like that's the case, right? I think we agree with that. We have another on that same page in the middle of the 4th paragraph that starts an annual application process. If you go down to the 4th line, it does say awarded recipients will be expected to have their project completed within 8 months of the funding award date. And then if we go over to page 4, eligible projects, we can look down to project criteria. Again, it says cannot support an ongoing service or support ongoing operating budgets. It says it must be completed within 8 months of an awarded date. We can look, why don't we look at types of project not eligible, just to be sure. Talks again about operating the, general contributions to capital campaigns. I don't think we've got that here. So, I mean, I'm going to defer now to Neighborhood Services staff to let you know what the position of the staff is. But to me, it looks like the members of this board could argue that this is one project that wasn't completed within an 8-month period of time. Or if this council, if this commission wanted, they could accept the alternative that you've been presented, which is we've got a 4-phase project and last year's was phase 1. But at the end of the day, I think we need to talk with Neighborhood Services staff about what they intended these guidelines to mean for you. And then we should probably, well, the vote at some point will indicate the understanding of this board. Did I answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Do you need Ann to talk to first, or because I do have some more comments?
Well, if you have more comments on this particular point, I think you should make them and then have Ann and Neighborhood Services respond.
Well, like I said, I reviewed last year's testimony. Now, last year your budget was $24,400. Is that still the same? But according to your application, you need more money. So what is the new total cost, including what you currently completed? Because last year you only presented it as one full project. You did not present it as a phase or a part. You presented it as one project.
We were new to this last year, so we were a little bit in over our head. And after the presentation, the cost of the materials went up, so it was a little bit harder for us to do it, and that's why we had broken it up into phases. When we did phase 1, it was about $5,680 was the cost, and I don't know what it is for phase 2 this year. We have to get new quotes, but But I anticipate it'll be somewhere close to the same figure.
And I was confirmed by the clerk, the money that we granted you, you did not receive the full amount from the city, right? You only got partial of it.
That's correct. We only got like 2,000. I think it was like 2,600 something. So we got like half of it.
Yeah, because we did approve 5,000. So
yes.
Okay.
Chairman, Jim Lewis, Attorney's Office. Yeah, so what this is going to turn on really is, did they complete a project that was provided to this board, right? Or have they, and then what did they apply for this time? The same project? Or did they convert their one project into 4 projects? And that'll be something for this board to decide as it continues to deliberate.
So my interpretation, like they presented us with the project at a cost of $24,000. The HOA was supposed to cover the remaining cost. We awarded their amount too. So, like I said, they pretty much did not complete their project last year. They were not able to maintain. If I'm right, you had other costs that your HOA had to cover, and that's why you could not cover the whole project for the wall.
That's correct, because we're actually a very small community. We only have 44 units, and so if we're not to keep the grant separate from operating costs, our operating costs actually is one of the biggest challenge.
And I know some of the members last year who were staff did give you some advice to work with planning and for the permits. And was that all done too? Because I remember last year they gave you, some of my members gave you some advice to get the city to help you get some of the permits.
They did give some advice, and we're definitely thankful for that. But I think going forward, we'd still like to continue to work with NPF on this, if you allow it to be a second phase, and to continue to receive those advices.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Go ahead, Ms. Becker.
Yeah, Liz Becker, for the record. Sorry, I want to be able to see you when I talk to you. I've actually visited your neighborhood, so I'm pretty familiar with the layout of it. And I'm on page, I believe, 3 of your handout. So it looks like you were able to complete one section of the wall last year. And so now you've broken it up so that you're going to be doing 3 other sections to completely surround the neighborhood. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Just from my interpretation, what it looks like to me is that it cost too much last year and the price was more than you anticipated. But now that it's been broken up into phases, my interpretation would be that that would be allowed because you're completing a section each year and then applying for more money. So that's my personal interpretation.
Chairman, this is Jim Lewis from the Attorney's Office. I do think that as we move on, we really ought to hear from the staff members that created this language, so we know exactly what it was, or we have a better idea of what it was they meant when they wrote this language for you.
I'm sorry, I was talking. I'm sorry, Jim, what'd you say?
Not a problem. I can repeat myself. It was just a suggestion that I think it's really important for the board to hear from staff who wrote the guidelines on your benefit, for your benefit, to find out what we really meant by one project. Because, look, I can argue either side of this for you, right? But I'm not here to make that policy call.
Right.
I can certainly argue that this was one project that they applied for last year and they haven't finished it. I could also very easily argue to you that, guess what? These guys were new. They thought the whole wall was something that could be done for $10,000, when in fact they could have come in for 4 projects, one year at a time. I could make both sides of that argument, but I think it really is important to hear from staff about what it is they intended, because they're the ones that wrote this language on your behalf. So I would suggest we hear from them, just so you all know what it is our staff was thinking.
Right. Ann, through you, please.
Yes, hello, this is Ann Kilponen with the Neighborhood Services Department. The guidelines don't prohibit associations from having phases. We have had other associations do various different phases of a project. In terms of this particular project, we did have a conversation with the applicant when they alerted us that they were unable to fund the entirety of the scope of project that they had planned to last year. So we try to work with the applicants to see what we can do to ensure that they get a portion of the project done if possible. And in this particular case, we looked at what funding they had available, what match they would be able to provide for that funding, and as was indicated earlier, provide about half the funding for them to be able to do a portion of the wall that would get them started in terms of achieving their overall goal of improving safety in their neighborhood. So I think from a staff point of view, it's really at the discretion of the board.
Yeah, Chairman, I can defend that position, no problem. I mean, this is one of those that, and I think it sometimes frustrates people about lawyers because, what we've learned is how to argue both sides of the coin, but in this instance, we don't have anything in our rules about phasing. And so one could make an argument that phasing of one project equals one project. Another one could make just as reasonable an argument that there could be 4 phases that are 4 actual projects. So I can't give you any better advice than telling you that I can defend the position that Neighborhood Services has laid out for you tonight. I hope that helps, sort of.
Thank you. Through you, Tanya.
Member Jackson Renter. This just sounds like there's an effort being made here on their part. Being a small community and with only 44 residents, I just think that they get an A for effort. And I think for me that there's some room for consideration. Although it looks like it's the same project, it's just sort of ongoing and in phases. So I just hope that the city, that there's something we can do. If we get information from planning or maybe their council office, just to see what we can do to help them. That's just the point of view.
Thank you. I just want to say I agree 100% with Tanya that the last year when we had you here, it was the first part of it, and now you're back for more, and you work hard and your effort is there. So you won't get any feedback, any hard back from me on this when we deliberate as well. So through you, sir.
This is Member Whittingham. My question is a little bit different, to a different angle. I understand that the project, whether it's first or second or extended project, but what was the initial purpose of extending the wall, the height of the wall? Was it for security? And you indicated that there were children that were jumping over. Has there been any crime report, any other way of preventing unauthorized access to the property?
No, we're not a gated community. So what happened is we had a lot of kids in the neighborhood that would intentionally knock down some of the cylinder blocks, and they would use them to make steps, and then they would just hop over the wall on a regular basis. So since the first phase got completed, we so far haven't seen anyone knock down any more blocks and haven't seen people jump over. So that's why it is a safety issue, and that was the reason why we wanted to try to continue to start with the phase 2, because that side is also, the wall's not as high, so it might be tempting for people to want to knock it over.
Okay, I hope that if it's approved, you will ensure that whoever the contractor is appropriately reinforce that wall so it's not so easily knocked down by children.
Actually, it was good that NPF got involved because the contractor, when they did phase one, they made sure they reinforced it fully with cement inside. So it actually ensured quality work was done.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else on this side? Thank you.
April Lalone for the record. Just curious, so if there is a portion of the wall that repeatedly keeps being torn down, is there an access point for these children to come in and out of the community?
So the children are actually jumping over aren't part of our community. They're actually from neighboring apartment complexes or another neighborhood, and they're just using the alleyway as a shortcut. If they really wanted to, they could actually just walk around and come through the regular street access. And we don't want them to keep trying to make a stairway over our wall.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Everybody else? Thank you. Go ahead, sir. You have something to say? Oh, thank you. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll deliberate on the 26th, and you'll be hearing from the city back from us. But we appreciate your time. We appreciate your concern for safety in your neighborhood, and things will be okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, don't go home worrying. Okay. Bye. Thank you. We're moving on now to Elkhorn High Noon Homeowners Association.
Oh, beautiful. I do have a handout also, but if you prefer the PowerPoint,
read it.
Okay, PowerPoint Finder. Okay. And that'll go next slide. One touch in the center.
Oh, wow.
Where actually?
That looks so nice.
The pattern was out. Advance on the previous slide, or you can just tell me. Yeah, just say next. You hit it.
Thank you. If you could state your name and address for the record, both of you.
Yes,
we
good
could get started.
afternoon. I'm John Gallagher, and
Hi,
I
John.
represent Elkhorn High Noon Homeowners Association. We are a townhome community located up in the northwest Centennial Hills, and we have a total of 243 townhomes in this community. So currently our community is partially lit up with these illuminated solar powered lights. Now these lights are manufactured locally by American Solar Electric here in Las Vegas. And what we're projecting, or what I'm proposing here, is that we have two mailboxes located on each end of Cabin Fever Street. If you may look at the mailbox on the right, it is brand new due to the fact that it was broken into. So what we're trying to do is we want to illuminate these two mailboxes for health and safety reasons, for people to be able to pick up their mail in the evening and stuff, and hopefully prevent further vandalism. How these lights work, they're just basically, solar panels that charge the battery on the inside of the unit, and then they're powered by LED light. Now, these new batteries that we have in here, they're lithium ion phosphate batteries, and those are made from K2 Energy here in the city of Henderson. So again, it's another local project, or local manufacturer here, and these batteries are much better than the lead acid batteries that used to be used in these, and they can last up to 5 years. So the LIP battery is considerably more efficient, producing brighter light, and is also 99% recyclable. And that's it. I think this is a great program or a project for you guys, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you very much. We'll open it up to the board now for questions. Thank you. Go ahead.
Brenda Plank, for the record, is there another community that has these lights? that you know of? Is there another community?
Currently, Lonnie would probably know that. There's several. They're also looking at, gentleman is doing your bus stops here locally.
Thank you.
Liz Becker, for the record. I'd just like to say that as an environmental science instructor, I greatly appreciate this project using solar power and also locally designed, and also that the batteries can be recycled, because that is a huge problem with batteries. So, thumbs up.
Yes, no, thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yeah, just once. Can you confirm the name of the solar company?
American Electric Solar?
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Member Whittingham. Do you know what time of day the original mailbox was broken into?
It was sometime during the evening. It was actually that's one of my mailboxes in there. So yeah, I got a call at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I leaped out of bed and went to go find it just ripped apart.
Okay, so it's just from an observation, and the intent is not just only to illuminate the area, but also to prevent, perhaps. Maybe you may want to complement the light with maybe a camera that would perhaps assist in investigation. Just the mere light alone may not prevent the access to and the breaking into of the mailbox. And so, in fact, I'm looking at the picture that you showed. There's a house nearby so it may not be an overhead light, but there's some illumination there. And if somebody really wants to break in, the light alone will not stop them. So, but if you have some kind of surveillance cameras, something that would help in the investigation, that may be helpful as well. Just an observation.
Right, we have discussed that currently right now. It's not in our budget, but we have discussed it. Cameras are very expensive. So it's one of those things. It's an ongoing project, but right now I just really want to illuminate these two corners and make it brighter for health and safety reasons, for when people come home and can get their mail and have some light.
All the best.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, Matthew Tramp. Just last year, you also applied for a grant similar for solar lights. So what are you using this for compared to last year?
So what we did last year is the new batteries. We got rid of the lead acid batteries, which were, polluting landfills and things like that. It was a much superior product, and it was also manufactured here locally. This year, we just want to put in 2 more lights.
So there'll just be new lights that have not been previously had?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
One more, sorry.
Yeah.
The solar company, the proprietor of the business, are they a member of your neighborhood association, the business, or anybody in that company, an employee of the? I'm just looking for conflict of interest, is what I'm just looking for, transparency.
That's an independent contractor. The only affiliation they have with the neighborhood is providing the lights.
But nobody who works for that company is a resident of that you know of? Okay, thank you. That's all I was wanting to know.
No.
My name is Lonnie Caulfield.
Brian Hobel for the record. This is my first time on the board, so I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper, but I noticed that there's no donation. This is a matching program, and there's no donations, and then under your volunteer activity, it just states Elkhorn High Noon residents. Do we need an itemized list of the volunteers for the actual matching? And if we do, can you give that to the clerk's office?
So the volunteer hours that we were...
Your name, sir, for the record?
Pardon?
Your name for the record.
Oh, my name is Lonnie Caulfield. The volunteer hours that we were planning to match the Neighborhood Partnership Fund grant would be in the volunteer hours for a Neighborhood Watch program. Since being related to the actual product of putting a light up, it's actually quite a simple device. So I don't have all the names of the volunteers for the project yet. We have a meeting coming up next month with Metro Police Department, and at that time, I'll be able to see exactly who is willing to volunteer.
Yeah, Chairman, if I may. I mean, it's a good question, and we do need to, I suppose, we do need to address what the language is in the guidelines that were drafted by our Neighborhood Service Department. Volunteer hours from the neighborhood are mandatory. To ensure neighborhood involvement in the NPF, at least 25% of the matching amount must be volunteer hours. 1, from the neighbors that reside in the defined neighborhood. 2, and are needed to complete the project. So if the project is putting in some lights and helping pay for Neighborhood Watch, then I think that yes, this complies. If not, then maybe they need to work with our Neighborhood Services Department and make sure that they have correctly applied for what it is they are requesting. Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you. Anybody on this end needs to talk? Anything? No? Okay, well, we'll be deliberating on this on June 26th, and we thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Moving on to Glen Heather. Ms. Shelley Walters. Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
Name and address for the record, please.
Shelley Walters, 2112 Kirkland Avenue. Okay. Got it. Hello, everyone. My name is Shelley Walters, and I'm the president of the Glen Heather Neighborhood Association. We're a neighborhood with 182 homes located excuse me, at the southeast corner of Rancho and Oakey. Our neighborhood project is the Glen Heather Estates Glen Heather Ween Block Party. We're asking the Neighborhood Partners Fund for $5,000 to make this happen. With the help of Neighborhood Partners Fund, in 2013, we did a monument sign for our neighborhood. In 2016, we painted the wall right near the sign there. And in 2018, we had a Halloween-themed block party. In 2020, we had a neighborhood cleanup with refreshments. And in 2021, we had the second annual Glen Heather Ween Block Party. In 2022, we had our third annual Glen Heather Ween Block Party, and it was a huge success. We had a $5,000 grant, and we matched it with $10,515. So that's in volunteer hours, cash, and donations. So it was pretty successful. Okay, this year we're going to be having our 4th annual Glen Heather Estates Glen Heather Ween Party. The neighborhood is very excited about having the block party as an annual event. The project will benefit the community in so many ways, and in the past, we've had so much fun meeting new neighbors. The kids have had a phenomenal time, and we've created new friendships, met neighbors that we would have never met, and it's also given us an opportunity to create relationships with vendors and surrounding businesses in our area. Our neighbor from Rock the Party crew will supply the DJ music for the party. Quality Food Service food truck will be our food truck vendor, and both of them will give us a discount. Our food truck, in the past 3 or 4 times that he's been at our events, has given us a $1,000 discount on our food. So yeah, it's been really good. So we'll have barricades from Mob, RSV Party Rentals, chairs and tables, Party City for party supplies, etc. there. And for those of you who are new on the board, you're probably wondering what Glen Heather Ween is, and I'll explain that to you. Let's see. So this year we're planning on having it take place on October 28th. That's right before Halloween. So it's obviously a Halloween-themed party. As you see here, it starts with the neighbors decorating their yards. It's sort of like Christmas. They decorate their houses 2 or 3 weeks before the event, and each year it's gotten bigger and bigger. It's quite nice. And then the day of the event, or well, I'm sorry, I'm skipping forward. Then we send out, excuse me, invitations and ask for volunteers, notify the neighborhood, that sort of thing. And then we get volunteers to pass out treats. And we create a map, as you can see here on this slide, maps with the houses that are designated for handing out treats. And then the kids will go to those properties for treats. Also, just a little fun fact for you, Glen Heather Ween is shaped like the state of Nevada. So the day of the event, balloons are delivered and the trick-or-treating begins. And all the houses think of creative and fun way to give treats. Last year, one of our neighbors had a corn dog truck at their house, and that was their treats for the kids. So and people have come up with a lot of ideas this past year. Like one wanted to do a hot chocolate stop, you know, do something different than just candy and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a fun thing. And after, let's see, while this is going on, actually the trick-or-treating goes on for a couple hours. Then barricades go up, the tables get set up, the DJ arrives, and then we have, sorry, I went backwards. Then we have a photo stop. Photo stop, and the neighbors all stop by and get their picture taken here. So each family gets their picture taken and that, so that's kind of fun. And then we have our 3-hour block party with food, pumpkin decorating for the kids, music, and fun there. And
Ms. Walters, we're going to have to wrap up your
oh,
presentation.
I'm sorry, did I go over?
Yeah, but it's such a great presentation. I hate stopping it. Makes me want to jump on one of those tables and eat like that carameled apple.
Okay, this is the last slide. So anyway, it'll give us a chance, gives the neighborhood a sense of community and that sort of thing. Gives us a chance to meet our neighbors, etc. I went over that. So I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity once again to apply for the Neighborhood Partners Fund grant.
And Shelley, like last year, I remember saying to you to reach out to Councilman Brian Knutson because he has 2 small children that live in your area, that this has just grown so big and fun that I know he'd love to bring him over there and if he has the time and see this for himself because it's really grown.
I invited him last year and he wasn't available.
Well, maybe this year he can. So,
yeah, I'll tell him farther in advance.
Yeah, we're going to open it up now to questions for you. So is there anybody on this side that... April, Ward 1. Sorry.
I love being nominated. Shelley, nice to see you. Hi. Thank you, as always, for everything that you do within your community. It's true, he wasn't able to attend that night. He had 3 different events going, and I was part of all 3. It was a crazy one. But this looks adorable, and I don't actually have any questions. I just wanted to say job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in this end? How about this way? No, you've left us speechless.
Oh, wow, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. So we deliberate this on June 26th, and you'll be hearing from the City of Las Vegas shortly after that.
Okay, thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you
all.
for the nice presentation, Shelley. Appreciate it. Moving on to the Huntridge Neighborhood Association. Hi, Mr. Oh, no.
Hello.
Hi, girls. Name and address for the record. Whoever's speaking.
All three of us.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melissa Clary. I'm a resident at Huntridge Neighborhood. And we have Kelly Wallace, our new president, and Taffy Watkins, our new vice president.
We're literally neighbors, literally.
Yes. And today we're bringing you the Huntridge Block Party. Next slide. I don't know who's controlling this, actually.
Oh, is this?
Oh, you are.
Got it.
Okay. Our project team is really the three of us, and I'm kind of showing them the ropes since I've applied for this grant so many times in the past. So we are the project leaders, and we do have a slew of volunteers that are noted on one of our forms that we submitted. Next slide.
Oops. Got it. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, so about Huntridge Neighborhood, like she said, we have received the grant in the past, and I have helped a couple times. A couple years ago, we had a plant party. I don't know if you recall that, but that was really fun and successful. This year, we wanted to do just a big block party, which seems like a lot of people seem to be doing, but that's okay. Because a lot of people have moved into the neighborhood, and we want to kind of get the neighbors together. There hasn't been a whole lot of getting together with the association over the past couple years, so we're trying to get everyone back involved. Huntridge is part of Ward 3, and we're one of the original neighborhoods in Las Vegas. We don't have a paid homeowners association, but we do have our volunteer association. And we have lots of shopping, entertainment, and quality housing. Next. And so, yeah, we all love our neighborhood because it is kind of a rare style in Las Vegas. With the old houses from the 40s and 60s, you can't really find those anywhere besides downtown and a couple places in Henderson here and there. But we take a lot of pride in the vintage style and trying to preserve it and maintain it. And Huntridge holds 330 residential homes.
With 330 residential personalities.
Plus.
So basically, we want to do an outside event that brings everybody together. And it seems like our district really likes music. So we have a couple bands that we're familiar with. They've been iconic for the Huntridge opening up. One is Hypnotiques, and the other one is Souvenirs, who is a local legend here in Las Vegas. And they're willing to do their music part for a very, very low rate for us, and we're really grateful for that. So we're just going to have one day, and we want to have a range of ages invited. We're going to have a jumpy castle. We want to have cakes, have different households are going to make cakes for a cake walk, or we can have a cake food fight. It's all good. We just want to have fun with a lot of sweets, get everybody hyper. And we have such a mix of residents. Some have been there since the beginning of Huntridge Neighborhood, and some, like me, are kind of new, and we're getting to know each other slowly, but this would be a great way to bring us all together.
Just to go back to the previous slide, as far as the grant, what else would be there? Can you go back?
Yep.
Or not? I guess it's not working. Okay. Well, anyway.
Where's Glenn? Glenn, can you help us? She was great.
Okay. So we have partnered with some of our neighbor businesses just to get all the locals involved as well. So Yukon Pizza just opened in the Huntridge Center. They're going to be participating. There's a Panaderia nearby that is also going to be participating. And we're trying to get the new diner, Winnie and Ethel's, involved somehow, but they weren't able to commit to anything yet, so we'll see how that goes. And we also wanted to have residents have the ability to, if they have art or crafts or homemade things that they want to come and share and, you know, display, we'd like to involve them too. And the rest of the, like for the grant, will be coming from like Smart and Final, just typical party supplies, things like that. And the event we're planning on having October 7th, I believe it was.
Yes, we're aiming for the first weekend in October.
And it would be early evening, so like 5 to 8. We don't have our location yet. We originally wanted to do it at Circle Park. We were told it's not available right now for permits. So if that doesn't change by this time, we'll just do it on one of the streets in our neighborhood. We've had block parties there before where we were able to block off a little cul-de-sac. But we'll see how that goes with the park.
Okay, thank you, girls. We're going to open it up now for questions for you from the board. I'm starting down to my right, if anybody has a question or a comment. Thank you.
Arlene Alvarez for the record. This sounds like an amazing way to bring the community together. I like how you incorporate the education component too, the historic preservation. Just like you said, you know, you're new to the neighborhood, you may not know a lot of the history, and so it's wonderful that you include that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. We did want to invite the Nevada Preservation Foundation to come as well and maybe set up a booth just to give out information about our history and how people can participate in restoring and revitalizing and preserving.
Yeah, and as our community becomes more involved, more ideas start to become present. So we don't want to block somebody from a great idea or a great booth. So we'll be encouraging our community to get involved in any way they see fit.
Thank you. Anybody else from this side?
Since we have a few minutes, I thought I would ask this question as I was looking over the report, application. What was the thought process among three that squared it off at 4,000, the request of 4,537 and 39 cents, instead of maybe run it over to 5,000, which you are entitled to ask for?
Well, we just added up the vendor costs. You know,
I see.
Want to be greedy.
Yeah, and a videographer. Yeah,
we will be having a videographer. But yeah, it was just based on the costs we got.
We can round up those.
Yeah. And you won't have a problem, I don't think so.
No, we will accept that.
Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. We deliberate on June 26th, and then you'll hear from the City of Las Vegas shortly after that, but we appreciate your presentation. And again, like I said to the Glen Heather people, reach out and invite your councilwoman. You know, it's a good place for her to be and have her eyes and ears on what's being done that's good in the neighborhood, because I know the crusty part of that area, and I know what you're living with. So I appreciate you trying to make it better. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. We're moving on to the 3:50 break. Does anyone need to take a break, or do you want to keep going? Let's go. We're going to keep going? All right, we're going to keep going. Moving on to the Jonas Park Neighborhood Association. Mr. David Figler, who's well known to these parts, and his friends. Hi, Mr. Figler. Long time no see.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record.
Yeah, you're in the middle. David Figler, 1302 South 6th Street in the historic Jonas Park neighborhood. And go ahead.
My name is Eric Kroll. I live at 1240 South 8th Street.
And I'm Ray Lathrop, and I live at 1302 South 6th Street as well.
Thank you to those of you who are helping pass out our presentation. I appreciate it.
And Mr. Crowell will be making the presentation on behalf of the neighborhood. I just wanted to reintroduce myself. David Figler, Jonas Park Neighborhood President for some time now, resident of the neighborhood for 23 years, went through the process of our application to get us declared the first historic neighborhood under the rules that allowed that to occur for neighborhoods in Las Vegas. And we're really proud to be here before you seeking this very specific nature of grant. And I'm going to turn over to Eric.
Thank you, David. So, as David mentioned, we are one of the first historic neighborhoods in the city of Las Vegas. The neighborhood plan was adopted in December of 2001. David has lived there 23 years. I've been a resident for 4. So I'm hoping to continue some of the work that he and the rest of the residents have started. There are approximately 1,000 residents in our neighborhood that we are hoping to benefit with our grant application, and 367 single-family homes, as well as the businesses along Las Vegas Boulevard and Charleston. As David said, we do have a historic district in our area, and an additional 134 homes are included in that section. So on to the third page, the geography of the neighborhood is bounded by Charleston on the north, Oakey to the south, 9th Street on the east, and Las Vegas Boulevard to the west. The historic district is at the very north end of the neighborhood, and we aim to actually include all of the neighborhood. As I found being a newer resident, most people only believe that John S. Park neighborhood is the historic district, but there is a lot more significance to the other homes in the area and the greater residents of the neighborhood as well. What we'd like to do is create an 18 by 24 aluminum road sign to post around the neighborhood. We've seen this elsewhere in communities in the city and as well in the historic neighborhoods downtown. It would be professionally fabricated, printed, and graffiti coated so that it has some resilience and can stand up to the elements as well as the elements of our neighborhood. And in order to do this, we plan to work with a local resident in our neighborhood who is an artist, and we'd like to not only develop a custom graphic that's representative of our specific area, but we'd like to develop a community history, because we have found that there are so many prominent residents that have contributed to the city, living in John S. Park in the past as well as now, and we'd like to understand a little bit more about how the area has been utilized and who those residents were. I think that this is going to create a very strong sense of place. We're going to promote the historic value of our neighborhood and also create more of a sense of community. We see elsewhere in the city where there are banners or neighborhood signs, and people feel a lot more empowered to take action to maintain and improve their areas, and we'd like to foster that in our area as well. I think as the person chairing this for our neighborhood, I've seen that this has created a lot of collaboration amongst myself, getting to meet new residents and people that live near me, and I've been so humbled by the amount of volunteers that have come forward and offered up not only their time, but the time of their entire families in order to be able to match and meet the requirements. So I think this is going to be a phenomenal opportunity to collaborate as well. And as I said, we're not just looking to post up these signs. We would like to deepen this project and actually create a historical abstract of the neighborhood as well. So when we came up with this idea, we formed the idea amongst a committee, and we've decided that, again, we want to have that historical abstract, and from there create a design brief to give to our resident artist. That way we have some context, and he can include significant events, significant architecture, significant residents into this design. We'll create up to 10 line sketches that the committee can then vote on, and then from there the artist will create the top 3 CAD renderings, which would be put out to vote to the community at large, and then the entire community will have a say as to the representation and the graphic that is then posted. After that, we would go to production, and the sign vendor will create that. And we would like to partner with the City of Las Vegas Traffic Engineering to ensure that the locations are appropriate, they don't obstruct any traffic signage, and that we do have them properly mounted. We are understanding that we may need to pay for the city's time and resources, and we would be happy to back that out of the amount of funding that we use to actually fabricate the signs. And we've seen recently that coffee on the curb and cocktails on the curb is a phenomenal way to meet our neighbors. So we will host our own party. We want to use as much of the funds purely for the production and fabrication of this so that we can benefit the entire geographic area. As I said, I'm Eric. I'm the project coordinator. Alan and Lori Rogers are new residents to our neighborhood. They have actually just moved into the the Pines at John S. Park homes that were recently built, and they've been a phenomenal addition. Alan has actually taken some of my friends under his wings to go to the Springs Preserve and other historically significant areas, so I find him to be incredibly fascinating, incredible when it comes to this, and I'm excited to see what he and Lori can produce. And then Randy Mendre has contributed already significantly in our neighborhood with his sculptures and his cactus gardens. So we'd like to honor Randy and strengthen the rest of the neighborhood with a design. So you'll see our inspiration is primarily the Beverly Green neighborhood sign. They used the same Neighborhood Partner Funds grant that we're asking for and a local artist to design their sign. We've vetted the same vendor and gotten a quote from their same vendor, and they also used the City of Las Vegas Traffic Engineering to help ensure the project's successful completion. I've also, when I was reviewing this with a couple friends, they came back recently from Morro Bay where they had more of a banner style, but it was really promoting the activities and again that sense of place and sense of community, what people want to happen in the area. So we will be using Mendre sculptures, road safe traffic systems in the City of Las Vegas, and we hope that this is going to bring our community together to research the history, share stories about what we know about our own homes and our neighbors, and then ultimately create that sense of place and sense of beauty. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. Really nice presentation as always from you guys, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll open it up to our board members now for any questions or comments. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Matthew Tramp, Ward 1 member. So Randy is the artist. Is he doing this on volunteer service, or is it's not a contract where he's getting paid or making money for?
He has donated the services pro bono.
Okay, so that's what I want for I'm just looking at conflict of interest for transparency, so thank you.
Thank you.
And Randy's sculptures are really well known throughout our neighborhood. A lot of the neighbors have representations of his work, and he has done work for bigger projects through the city and actually through the county as well, but mostly through the city. So he's pretty well established, and he's one of ours. We love him.
Right. He's one of yours for sure. He's
a John S. Park guy.
Yeah, good guy. Thank you. And anyone from this end? Go ahead, sir, at the end.
Angelo Petrelli for the record. Right now, the neighborhood match is less than the requested grant. Is there something you guys could do to get up to that requested grant amount?
I'm sorry, can you speak louder?
Yes, I'm sorry. The neighborhood match right now is $3,287, and you guys are asking for $5,000. Is there anything you could do because this is a matching grant program, we need to match $5,000 if that's what you're looking for. Is there other donations or volunteer time that can get you guys up to that $5,000?
I think that we would be able to utilize the volunteer hours that we submitted to go well in excess of the $5,000 match. I'm happy to utilize the services of the company that I work for and donate those pro bono. We do commercial cleaning, so we would be happy to utilize our power washers to clean areas and prepare them for the signs to be put up, or clean up any existing features that need to be beautified before we do this.
Yeah, that would be perfect, and if you could just amend the application and provide it to the neighborhood program so we can have it in our consideration when we get together at the end of the month, that'd be great.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, totally acceptable. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Arlene Alvarez for the record. Well, I live in John S. Park, so thank you so much for your presentation. And congrats on your first MPF, it says, right? Okay, this is a wonderful project. And then the only question I had was initially, I think in your pre-app, it said that you were going to have an artist competition. And I'm not sure if that just meant like a design competition and then the artist is selected, or?
So prior to coming before all of you, we did reach out to several artists, and we, as a committee, chose Randy to move forward with based on the donation and the program that he put together. As you said, it will be more of a design competition where that single artist will create 10 designs, which will be narrowed down by the committee, and then the final designs, after they're enhanced and brought to about an 85% production level, would then be voted on by the neighborhood before we take it to a full 100% design.
Chairman, if I may, real quick, Arlene, did you say that you lived in the John S. Park neighborhood?
I do.
Yeah, I think out of an abundance of caution, you should probably abstain from this item.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, all right.
Madam Chair, I have just one more question for council.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, signage, how does that impact zoning? Does that require any special permitting or zoning or anything like that for these kind of projects?
Jim Lewis from the Attorney's Office. Generally not. So some signage does, but they're going to have to work through that with our planning department. From what I've heard here today, unlikely. But here's the thing: they are the first historic preservation neighborhood, and they may have to take some of the signage to the HPC. So we'll just go ahead and have them take a look at that to make sure there's not some extra work involved.
We will figure that out, yes.
But I think they're probably willing to go through that process if need be.
Okay,
Absolutely.
very good, thank you.
Yes.
I mean, it really is in celebration, so we're good on that.
Thank you. All right, with that being said, everyone has asked your questions and made their comments. We deliberate on June 26th, and then you'll hear from the City of Las Vegas soon after that.
Chairman Vicky.
Yes, here.
Oh, Chairman Vicky, and I have to put it on the record, Arlene Alvarez, I'm abstaining from this item.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thanks so much for your time. Great to see everybody.
Nice seeing you, Mr. Figler.
Ms. Quinn.
We are moving on to Lakeside Village Homeowners Association. Holly Shakyai and Marge Ballavander. Oh, no.
Hello, council members. Here we have booklets.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Hi. Hi.
When you're ready, we'll take your name and address for the record.
My name is Holly Shaka at 7808 Shelter Island Way.
I'm Marge Ballavander, 7917 Sailboat.
Thank you. Okay, we are ready when you are.
Okay. Well, let me say, we're not a historical community, but we are an aged one.
Can you put that microphone a little closer to
This
your
one?
little voice? Yeah, because
Okay.
it's just a
I
little
said we're
voice.
not a historical community, but we are an aged one. Welcome to Lakeside at Brookview. We're mostly a senior community of 89 homes. Are we supposed to be buttoning this?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you control this or do we?
I don't control it. No, you do.
We do? Okay. Can you do that, Marge? Okay. As you can see from the aerial view, our community is laid out in such a way that we welcome the residents socializing outdoors. Securing this grant would allow us to purchase items, not only to enhance our community, but to enhance the residents' daily experience while providing safe and enriching environmental for all. We're a wildlife habitat where we have several wildlife in our community, and we're hoping that by requesting the benches that's at the end of our list, to allow the residents the ability to sit and visit and read at our book exchange, enjoy the ducks, the birds, the turtles, and fish within our greenbelt areas. Our hope is that the picnic tables we are looking to spread throughout our community will allow additional gatherings beyond our annual barbecues, pool parties, ice cream socials, and movie nights. The security cameras we are looking to purchase would add safety for our elderly residents while out and about, plus assist in keeping our neighborhood a safe haven, since we often have unwanted trespassers attempting to vandalize the property. Being a small neighborhood, our hope is that this grant will enhance our quaint little complex for all. And I think you have the information in front of you with the pictures of the, here's our celebrating one of our residents' 91st birthday. And then sadly, a year later, his celebration of life. And this is one of our memorial gatherings. We have quite a few community projects, and we're just looking for some extra. Yeah, the community cookout. The benches and the signs to put up for, like I said earlier, our residents to set in, signs to enforce the wildlife habitat, and the security cameras. Are there any questions?
Thank you. I'm going to open it up now to our members for questions or comments. I just want to compliment you on the beautiful presentation itself. It's just a lovely presentation. So thank you very much. Does anybody to the left of me have anything to say? Seeing no one. How about my friends to the right? Go ahead, sir.
Member Petrelli, I looked at the application. Maybe I missed it, but was there any cost information in the application itself?
In the application, yes, sir. I have a copy of that. See if I can find a page to present to you.
Can you please turn on the overhead back there?
You know what? I apologize. It isn't in the it was sent with the application because it had to be part of it, but it's not the part that I presented, that I printed out, rather, I should say.
Well, if you could provide that information to Ann, I think that would be helpful for our deliberations at the end of the month to have the cost.
I'm sorry?
If you could provide the cost information so we could have a complete application.
Absolutely.
For the deliberations. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. You'll have it tomorrow.
Thank you very much. And that's it for here. Anybody else? Thank you. Okay, want to hear one more? One more? Okay, we are going to, that's it. So now June 26th, we deliberate, and then you get a nice letter from the city saying that if it was approved or not approved, but we look forward to helping you and working with you. And so you'll hear from the city of Las Vegas after June 26th.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're going to take a 5-minute break now because a couple of us have to use the restroom real fast, so 5 minutes. Thank you. We're all back, and we are looking forward to hearing from Rainbow Family Park is our next friends, Mr. Keith Thomas and Margaret Allen and Kyle Stevens. Take your time. We're not going anywhere. Thank you. When you're ready, we'd love to hear your name and address for the record for the city clerk.
Thank you. My name is Keith Thomas. My address is 1561 Windhaven Circle, Las Vegas, Nevada 89117, in Ward 1.
My name is Margarita Allen, and I live in 1420 Marina del Rey Court, Las Vegas, Nevada 89117.
Thank you. We represent Rainbow Family Park Neighborhood Association. We've been in front of you, Madam Chair, a number of times, and committee members, thank you so much for allowing us to make a presentation today. I'll quickly go through this. I want to concentrate on just a couple of pages. We're in Section 3, just west of Rainbow, between Sahara and Charleston, and east of Buffalo, and you can see our park kind of right there in the middle of the association. Our mission is, you can read it there. We are not a not-for-profit, we're not an HOA, we're just a neighborhood association, a group of concerned citizens. We've been in front of the committee 5 times previously and been successful in obtaining grants, and we appreciate your assistance with that. We've been very successful with picnics and trunk-or-treats and website creation. We had pole signs a couple years ago. Last year we had just an outstanding event with trunk-or-treat. These are just some quick pictures of the previous things. There's our website and our pole signs from 2 years ago. Then our trunk or treat, we had about almost 250 or 300 people come to our trunk or treat, and we ran out of food probably about 2/3 of the way through. But it was a really fun evening. This year what we'd like to do is to have another picnic event, but rather we want to focus on neighborhood safety, and this time to have it at Rainbow Family Park. We'll be inviting the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, also the U.S. not the U.S. Marshals, but the Park Marshals as well, to come and help us as well. We'd be there at Rainbow Family Park, probably in the same location. You're familiar with the park as where Councilman Knudsen had his recent Art in the Park about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Some of the things we want to do to encourage attendance is have a free taco truck, have free ice cream, some free safety flashlights, and also to have 3 Ring camera systems as door prizes. We have about 600 homes within the association boundaries, and we think putting a safety event on it this time would be not only timely but helpful in increasing awareness for those kinds of issues in our neighborhood. Our project team is going to be headed by Margarita, and it'll include the other officers of Rainbow Family Park. Diane Harrington, our president, Kyle Stevens, our vice president, couldn't be here. One's out of town and one's out of the country. So, but they send their best wishes to the committee. We have about 16 neighborhood residents who have volunteered to help plan and carry out the activity. This year we put in a request for $5,000 for this neighborhood safety event. Free tacos, ice cream prizes, and giveaways, and so on. The actual number came up a little bit less than that, about $4,102, I think it is. And within our application, we put the copies of the bids and all of the costs related to those. The taco truck is going to be about $1,200. The ice cream truck is Ben & Jerry's. It's about $1,140. And our application includes water as well, and that's only $36. Water's cheaper than I thought it was. The security systems to use as door prizes, we have 3 different ones. One is a 5-piece alarm, one's an 8-piece alarm, and the other one is a 14-piece alarm. And then also we wanted to do small flashlights to be used as giveaways, again, to help encourage attendance. We've been very, very successful in getting our community out to these events in the past. They've enjoyed them. We still have a few T-shirts left over that we did last year, and we'll be giving some of those out as well. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time, if you'd like to.
Thank you very much for the nice presentation. We'll open it up now for questions or comments. Anybody on this side have anything to talk about? Nope. Okay, what about down here? Nope. Okay, so what happens now is we deliberate on June 26th and we go over this stuff, and then you get a nice letter from the city after that, soon after that. So we appreciate you coming down, and it must have been a great presentation because nobody has any questions and nobody has any comments. So we appreciate your time and your effort.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and committee members. Thank you.
Really nice job. Very nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now moving on to the Tanglewood Homeowners Association. So, yeah, if not, we can jump to the next one.
You certainly can, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are people here from the West Mesa Estates? We'll hear you now. Thank you.
Do you have
Good afternoon. How are
Do you
you?
have a projector or no?
They do, but I don't know how it works. Miss Ann will
here.
show you, or
Oh.
her friend. I don't do
brought
that.
our presentation. Okay.
Thank you. Just state your name and address for the record.
I'm Deborah Turk, and my address is I'm Deborah Turk, and my address is 8609 Grand Bank Drive, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89145 in Ward 2.
Good afternoon. I'm Larry McAllister. I'm the president of the West Mesa Association. I live at 712 Vantage Lane, Las Vegas 89145.
Thank you.
Ready to roll?
We are ready to roll.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Again,
Thank you.
I'm Larry McAllister. We're with the West Mesa Estates Neighborhood Coalition. Our goal with this grant application is primarily branding and beautification of the neighborhood. Our neighborhood is located at, I apologize for not having the projector thing done on time. So we were, oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Okay. We're at the southwest corner of Alta and Durango. We're not an HOA, we're just an association. We're registered with the city. I believe this is our third grant application process. So thank you for giving us this opportunity. Some of the challenges that we're addressing, nobody knows about our neighborhood because we have no signage. We've been there 33 years, and many of our neighbors don't even know they live in West Mesa Estates. In the past, developers of local projects like Boca Park and Tivoli Village have not contacted our neighborhood for meetings in advance of planning commission hearings because they didn't know the name of our neighborhood or how to reach anybody. And although neighborhood communication has increased since we formed our coalition, our neighborhood still lacks a clear identity. We've been talking about putting signs up since 2018, and we'd like to get it done. So solution one, and this is not what we're asking money for, but this is something that we're doing in parallel, is funded completely by neighborhood pledges, totaling $3,300 from 38 residents so far. The funding, as of Friday when we typed this up, was 97%. We're now at 110%. We've surpassed our fundraising goal. And we're expecting to have the sign installed by late September, but realistically probably by the end of July. The sign, as you can see, is cut letters out of aluminum bolted to the property wall on the corner of Alta and Durango. Residents have been involved in this project by discussing options at several meetings, researching signage companies, obtaining quotes, and voting on the final design. The marquee sign will make our neighborhood easily identifiable and easy to find.
Solution 2, signs on 12 light poles throughout the neighborhood. Seeking a Neighborhood Partners Fund grant for these signs, which will show that residents take pride in our neighborhood care about making it a desirable place to live and are willing to invest time and money to voluntarily, without an HOA, carry out beautification projects. To encourage homeowners to maintain their property in keeping with a nice neighborhood which preserves property values and makes Las Vegas a nicer place to live and visit. Neighborhood residents have participated by meeting many times to organize the project, submitting artwork for consideration, voting to select the final artwork, researching vendors, and obtaining quotes. Selection 3, neighborhood communication, activity, and yard signs. The light pole artwork will be used in neighborhood newsletters and emails, so our information is immediately identifiable. We will host at least one neighborhood potluck. We'll have contests judged by special guests, and winners will be acknowledged with yard signs featuring our new artwork. All of this will build cohesiveness and camaraderie among residents, leading to a better quality of life and a safer neighborhood because people will look out for each other. Neighborhood matching commitment, 23 volunteers pledged 157 hours at a value of $4,702.15. Our coalition secretary will donate the printing of 3 neighborhood newsletters at a cost of at least $500. The total neighborhood match is $5,202.15, and it represents 183% of our $2,843.95 grant request. However, if you also consider the $3,300 in cash pledges for the marquee sign, our neighborhood match is 300%, 3 times the amount of our grant request. Thank you for your consideration of this request, which will help our neighborhood establish thorough branding and a strong positive identity. And we can take questions.
Boy, you have dotted every I and crossed every T. I mean, this is like a slam dunker, and I can't say that to you because that would be like we wouldn't be talking about it in a couple weeks because that would be dishonest. So I'm going to open it up to my friends and see if they have any questions or comments on either side.
Madam Chair, this is Member Whittingham. It's not so much of a question but a comment, and I don't intend to telegraph my vote either, but Larry, I can relate to what you want to do over there at Mesa. We had the same experience, and as you can see in Buffalo Coalition neighborhood, which is just south of where you are, and all that we have done there, almost identical to your presentation of what we have accomplished, because it's now a clearly identified neighborhood cohesiveness, working together. It's a wonderful thing. So wish you all the best. I can really relate. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else still there? Nope. Go
ahead. Member Matthew Tramp. So you got 3 different proposals. So I'm assuming each proposal has a different cost amount, correct?
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. I wanted to ask if that was coming across as clear. We were unsure what to apply for. We had several goals. We wanted to put a marquee sign on the corner of the intersection that let people know the name of the subdivision. And then we were kind of advised that since that's a private wall, that may not have a good chance of securing a grant funding. And we started looking at these 24-inch square aluminum signs that go on the lamp poles to beautify and further drive home that sort of branding and neighborhood name. So that's what we're asking for. That's the $2,843. And then that also includes
I'll take it. The permit, it includes the permit and the hardware for putting up the signs.
Yeah, and the yard signs for, we're thinking of having something like a chili cook-off where the winner gets a yard sign with our branding on it in their front yard.
So, because this is unusual, no one's ever presented it this way, I'm going to have to ask the chair's permission to talk to Ann. Do they need to confirm which proposal they want to do before we vote on this, or is there a deadline when they need to tell you which proposal they're going to do? to get the grants, so you know what the cost is?
Can I insert one thing? On
Sure.
Solution 2, it says at the top, seeking a Neighborhood Partners Fund grant for these signs. That's the only place where you'll
Okay.
see that
Yeah.
we're seeking the grant, and that's on the signs.
Yeah.
So just for only Solution 2, you're looking for
Yes.
money for that one. The other ones, you would cover full.
The other ones we're doing with our grant, the money that
Your
we
share of the,
stimulated.
okay, so.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. I think we added in or included the marquee sign,
Right.
which we're funding ourselves. just
So
to
you may end
demonstrate.
up combining both solutions,
We combined them in the presentation to
but
illustrate.
you may end up doing, you would probably end up deciding, you could do maybe one, two of the three, or all three of
We'll
them?
do all of these. Yeah, we're already signed a contract for the marquee. We were all
Okay.
self-funded. We just wanted to demonstrate that we've raised that money ourselves through matching and volunteer hours. So we've kind of clumped together all that into the volunteer hours and matching. But the marquee sign, I just signed the contract this morning, and that's going forward.
I have a copy of
Okay, I
that
got
if
it, yeah.
anyone needs to see it.
Good.
Oh, it's right here.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So this is the correspondence, and then this is the signed copy of the marquee. And then these are our signs that we're trying to receive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? How about this way? Go ahead, sir.
Member Petrilli, just curious, what was the reason why you didn't apply for the more expensive project? You said something about a private wall. I'm not sure if that's an issue or not, but.
When our grant writer submitted it, there was a woman, I believe her name was Ann, and she highly recommended that we, of the two, go with the sign. She said because in the past, there was someone who asked for the marquee and were denied it in their grant. And as a coalition, we've always wanted to have a marquee, and that wall is privately owned. So she gave permission for us to have the grant, to have the marquee. So, but we were advised not to go forward with the marquee, that they thought we'd have a much better chance by getting the signs.
All right. And through you, Matt had a question I don't think he feels was answered, and I kind of went right over him.
I think she was going to answer my question, but we continued talking.
Yes, my understanding, and I think it was reiterated in the presentation, was that they were looking for funding for the 12 pole signs for their neighborhood. And in terms of the discussion regarding the wall sign, as they are a neighborhood association and not a homeowners association, the property ownership can become a challenge in terms of some of the agreements that need to be signed in terms of long-term maintenance and other things that are, you kind of need to have a legal entity and an ongoing funding source for. So it can be a challenge for neighborhood associations to have projects that are not on property that they own. So the pole signs is something that the associations, neighborhood associations, can work with our traffic engineering on, and it's a easier process typically for our neighborhood association.
Thank you. Answer. Thank you very much. That's about all we have for you, so we appreciate your application, and I appreciate the work you've done and the fact that you've come up with, so much of the money and everything like that. So June 26th, we deliberate, and then you'll get a letter from the City of Las Vegas with the request either granted or not. So we look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We're going to go back to Tanglewood and see if they're here now. There they are. There's those girls. Hi, girls.
So something went wrong with the PowerPoint, like it was missing something, so I brought a USB with only the PowerPoint on there. Is it possible to display that? Okay. Okay, great. So
Thank you. If I could just have your names and addresses for the record, and we'll hear your lovely presentation.
Yes.
We've been waiting for you.
Oh, sorry. That is so amazing. I'm surprised you even know who we are. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Ultimate Lewis. I am the
Ultimate.
president of Tanglewood Homeowners Association.
How sweet.
I'm Miriam Saavedra, and I'm also a board member of the Tanglewood Homeowners Association.
Okay, so here we are for the third year in a row, and I'm so honored to be here. This is our presentation to you. Oh, I have a clicker. Okay. So, Tanglewood Housing Development has 275 homes with approximately 712 residents, located at the intersection of Smoke Ranch and Torrey Pines. The board is composed of 5 members, myself, Miriam, and 3 other individuals. And we have been a recipient of this grant in a multi-phase project to improve the community and the park, the common areas. Okay, so this is how we have utilized the funds in the past. Around 2014, we added a jungle gym. In 2021, there was some COVID delays, but we added a dragonfly and a water fountain for animals and humans. Last year, we repaired our swings. The coating was damaged, which pretty much made it impossible for kids to swing because right where they hold it, it was damaged and uncomfortable. So we repaired the swings, the chains. We installed a park bench near the water fountain, and we improved the landscaping at the monument sign and the center island. So we've had a really great time utilizing these funds to improve the neighborhood, and the park is being utilized more.
Yes.
You know, the water fountain's being utilized, so it's we appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Again, this is a multi-phase project, so we had a 5-year timeline that now went to 7 just because people have ideas and things are going well. So in the future, we plan on adding some additional swings and maybe even a park shade structure because, as you know, we live in the desert and it gets really hot, and then sometimes the children aren't really able to utilize the equipment. So last year, we improved, we improved the landscaping at the monument sign and the center island. However, so I've got some photos for you. So at the bottom is before. This is what it looked like last year. So at the bottom left, we had 2 bushes, and now we've got some really lively, colorful things happening. Then there's the center island. The angle is different, so of course you can't see what's behind the bush, but it's pretty much looking like that's the way it looks. So again, we've colored it up, and again on the other side of the street, the before and after. So this was a huge hit with the neighborhood. It's curb appeal, right? Mm-hmm. It's what you see when you first come home. So this year, what we'd like to do is continue to improve that area. And so as you can see in these pictures, it's just really at the monument sign that the landscaping, so we've got a lot of bare area here, so we just want to improve that a little more. And so that's what we are intending to use the funds, if awarded this year, to improve.
Yes, that is the entrance to our community, so it's important for us to see some color and some pretty plants.
And so this impacts our neighborhood because, again, curb appeal and perceived value of homes increase, and again, an opportunity to build community with the residents. As we continue to do this, residents engage in dialogue, tell us what they like, ask if more is coming. So again, improving the dialogue and having the residents feel like they're a part of this improvement. So the project team, Miriam and I, and then the other 3 board members and any community or residents, homeowners that would like to participate. And we have board meetings where we discuss future plans and get feedback. And so what we are requesting, the amount for the landscaping improvement is $4,255. That's without sales tax. And the board is going to provide a 53% match with volunteer hours, pledging a total of 75 hours. And that is it. And so there was no glitch. This is great.
It looks great. She prepared it all.
Really nice. So we're having to have a few questions from the members now. Go ahead, Tanya.
Hi, Member Jackson Winter. I just have a question. So the area you're looking to put the landscaping is the water source there?
Is there a water
The
source?
water source, like the drip system is in place?
Yes,
Yes.
because we
Okay.
have trees there, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
The community used to have huge pine trees, but they started dying off because it's an older community, so now it's just barren.
Thank you. Anyone else down this way? Nope, see no one down this way? Go ahead, Matt.
Just wanted to go through a review of your previous projects. Have they all pretty much stayed in good standing? You've had no damage with any of your previous projects where you've had to do some extra work or do any maintenance work, or has everything pretty much been in good standing where you haven't had to?
Everything is in good standing. The only thing is where the dragonfly is, some kids have dug up, like kids being kids, digging up stuff. So we've got to just level that out. But everything is great. Actually, we were getting a plumber to take a look at the water fountain to make sure that's good too, because it's been up for a while. So everything is great.
Okay. And also, so this landscaper you use continuously for projects in this area?
Yes.
So he's been, you've had a continued service with them, right?
Yeah, they
Okay.
are our current landscaper.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Liz Becker for the record. I see the pine trees there. You're leaving the pine trees in, is that correct, or are they getting removed?
Some of them are diseased, and they've had to be taken out already. So now we're left with 13 pine trees in the park, and then just a few in the area where you're entering. But all the other, pretty soon they're going to have to be removed as well, because they're just old and they're getting diseased.
Yes, that's why I asked, just because that's happened in my neighborhood and with other folks with the Afghan pine, so that's why I asked. Thanks.
Okay, girls, so June 26th comes along and we deliberate our little meeting here, and then you get a nice letter from the city of Las Vegas with what they're going to extend to you or not extend to you. But this was a lovely presentation, and I was here last year, so I'm fortunate enough to see the improvement from last year to this year, as well as a few other members, and it's really quite incredible.
Great.
It looks
I mean,
beautiful.
truly, that park was a mess. I'm so
Yes.
proud of what you've done. I mean, I'm not kidding. So
we had your help, so thank
yeah,
you so
well,
much.
thank you so much for doing it, because you do the hard work.
Thank you. So quick question, is it helpful in the PowerPoint to do the before and afters? This was the first time I did that, but to like constantly show you
I think
what
it's
we've done.
extremely helpful, because,
Okay.
you know, people change up here, and I'm lucky to be here back again. So, you know, it's nice for me to know, I remember it, and so does Tanya, but we have new members now that can see what you've done in the last year, and it's quite incredible.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So thank you for doing that.
All right, thank you.
Bye, girls.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, we are down to Willowdale Estates. Anyone here from Willowdale Estates? Yay, buddy.
Now, who do I give all these to? Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Name and address for the record.
My name is Leslie Coleman, and I live 4101 Birchmont Street, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89130.
Thank you. I think we're ready for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
You'd start the timer, please, Madam Clerk.
all right.
Thank you.
We are requesting a grant of $5,000. The total cost of our new camera system is $9,400 and some change, which we also expect to spend about $500 in landscaping afterwards. The reason for it is, recently, there's been an uptick in crime in our beautiful gated community, okay? The gated community consists of 65 homes, all right? We're located on the corner of Alexander and Bradley, all right? Earlier this year, we had someone come through the gates and they destroyed our mailboxes. Then we had a group of young people come through the neighborhood and literally vandalized a bunch of cars, and one car was stolen. All right, and across the street from me is a police officer, and his car actually got broken into. We take pride in our community. Last year, we resurfaced all the streets, repainted all the curbs, but when the car was stolen, we went on the camera system to try to pull images to give to Metro. We found that the images were very poor, and when we called the camera company who installed it about 7 years ago, they said the system was obsolete. We went and got a bunch of bids to get a new camera system installed, okay? We're asking for the matching grant to install the new camera system. The camera system will consist of license plate readers, a pinhole camera at the keypad where you can literally identify the person who touches the keypad. And pretty much that's it. Mine is simple, short, sweet, and to the point.
Thank you very much. We'll open it up then to questions from the members or any comments. Anyone going down this way? See none. Anybody down this way? Seeing none. Okay, so we will deliberate on this.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, what?
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Question.
little friend.
Yeah, so I was just curious, how would you meet the match criteria for volunteer hours and whatnot?
Well, what we're doing is through our reserves, we spent a bunch of money last year, like I said, resurfacing the property and everything, and through our reserves, which we have built up a large number of reserves, we're going to do this regardless, but we're asking for the grant for matching because we try to keep our homeowners association fees low, which are only $60 per month, and we would like to keep them low. Because, as you know, everything has went up with inflation and everything, so we want to keep our homeowners happy, and we want to make them feel secure in the homes that they live in.
Chairman Jim Lewis here with the City Attorney's Office. What I don't hear him saying is this is going to an operating budget. I think what he's really trying to say is we're providing 50% in cash, and we're asking for 50% in cash, but I might ask the applicant to confirm that.
You are correct, sir.
Okay, so if you could talk with Ann and our staff members to make sure that your application is clear about your cash match, that would help us when we deliberate next time.
Okay, as he stated, yes, we are going to spend half the cash, and we're asking for the other matching part of it. So, and we do have the money in our operating budget for that.
Right.
You got to excuse me, this is my first time doing this.
You did a fine job.
Okay.
Perfectly understood. With that being, do you have Ms. Becker?
Yes, Madam Chair, Liz Becker for the record. I was just looking at the documents that were submitted on the application, and there are volunteer hours listed with 4 different community members' names and hours there. I think that might be what Mr. Petrelli was wondering is what the volunteer hours are for, because you did list volunteer hours.
Pardon, say that again, please.
You did list volunteer hours. It's your name and then 3 other community members, and then there's some hours pledged.
Yes.
For volunteer hours. And so I think the question was, what are the volunteer hours for? So what will you be doing as volunteer work?
Unfortunately, I didn't write this. They just asked me to come and present it.
No problem.
Chairman, if I may, through you, the good thing is it sounds like the application has the match requirement done already, so even if he can't elucidate on who's going to be doing what, it sounds to me like they might have already met that requirement. I don't know if that matters to you or not, but I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Is that all for everybody down there and down here? Go ahead, sir.
Just a quick comment, Member Petrelli. I think if we could amend the application to speak to the $5,000 of reserve funds that could be applied, and that you're asking for $5,000 on top of that, I think it's going to clarify it. Okay. Because right now the volunteer time seems to be just normal course of business, board meetings, that kind of stuff. You know, we normally won't be funding something that's in the normal course. But if you speak to the dollars that you're going to put toward this project, specifically to the project, and ask for a match to that, I think it's going to simplify the application.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So with that being said, and everybody has asked their questions, we appreciate you coming down and presenting this. We deliberate on June 26th, and then a letter comes to you, sir, through the City of Las Vegas office as to how much money you're getting or not getting, so that's how it works.
All right. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you so very much, sir. Appreciate it. Well, that was all the presentations.
We got one more agenda item, Chairman. It's
Citizens participation.
That is. Can you read that in for us, please?
I will do it. Citizens participation. Number 9, public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of this board. No subject will be acted upon this board unless the subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single item on any single subject, as well as the amount of time on any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Seeing none, I adjourn the meeting.